Health. Your medicine is in you, and you do not observe it. Your ailment is from yourself, and you do not recognize it. Sufi Hazrat Ali. There is vast evidence that the quality of our thoughts, attitudes, and our self-esteem is the quality of our health and experience. This has long been known to those who, for untold centuries, have understood the law of cause and effect, that condition equals cause. To give regular attention to the undesirable in any form is to attune the subtleties of our life forces to destructive energies. We need only to observe our state of mental and bodily health to see the results of the causes that we have set in motion. There is no medication that can heal a condition while its cause continues. And cause begins in the mind, either knowingly or unknowingly. It is impossible to be well and to be focused on sickness. It is equally true that man experiences the quality of his dominant thoughts. If you would be harmonious and well, dear reader, it is essential that you fill your mind with all that is pleasant, constructive, and desirable. There are noble causes and deeds, heroic acts, and touching sacrifices for the good of others in abundance. The media overflows with all that is sordid and violent, but there are better choices for your time. It is naive to believe that you are not affected by that to which your mind is regularly exposed. Do not allow others to tell you bad news, for this will generate destructive vibrations within you and lower your spirits. When family or friends attempt to tell you anything tragic or sinister, politely answer that you are practicing new mental habits and ask them to tell you instead something happy and desirable. Be prepared with quiet and pleasant answers. Look for humour at every hand, and be your own master by remaining pleasant and cheerful regardless of the situation. If you are dead set on getting even, forgiveness is the only way that works. Holding a resentment does not even the score. It leaves you short-changed. No one can disturb us unless we allow it to enter into our emotions. We have a choice. Concentrate on remaining calm and harmonious at all times. If at all possible, try to be of service to others. It is highly effective to give in our mind that which we desire. It is a disservice to yourself if you are in need and concentrate upon this, for it will sustain your condition. Thought reproduces its own likeness in our experience, so it is imperative that we fill our mind with healthy and happy thoughts. As R.W. Emerson wrote, the measure of our mental health is the disposition to find good everywhere. Yes, it is our thoughts and attitudes that cause us to feel tired, ill, and weary, or light and spirited. If, in our state of exhaustion, someone were to bring us miraculous and thrilling good news, our mind would immediately transcend all awareness of fatigue and soar into carefree joy and wonder. It is a proven fact that persons with a painful illness, too weak to even stand, were either relieved of their symptoms or tremendously improved after being exposed to lengthy and hilarious laughter. Very rarely have I experienced any illness, but many years ago I had the flu. I had a high temperature and was barely able to breathe. Everything ached terribly. A friend and her New Zealand boyfriend came to visit. As a naval officer, he had collected amusing stories from all over the world, and he told them energetically. At first, I was too ill to laugh. They held no humour for my aches and pains. He continued, and I began to smile faintly. Little by little, I was so distracted from myself that his humour caused me to burst out in explosive laughter. I assure you that before they left that evening, 2 hours of constant laughter had completely healed my illness. I felt light, free, and happy. Once, while lecturing 4 times a week in New York, I experienced laryngitis and had no voice at all. With only a few hours before lecture, I began to feel panicky. There was no one to replace me, and some of my followers had come from far out of the city. Finally, realizing that I had no choice but to transcend my condition, I set about focusing on the ideal. Weakly at first, I began to imagine that I was on stage and speaking in a full and clear voice. In imagination, I repeatedly presented the subject that I had prepared and finally became completely unaware of my condition. So lost was I in its stories and examples. After continuing my silent lecture for over 2 hours, I tried my voice to see if there was one, and to my relief, it sounded almost normal. While dressing and grooming myself, I embodied a sense of radiant health, and then I left for the lecture hall. Throughout the evening, my attitude was that of superabundant energy, feather lightness, and soaring spirit. No one guessed that 3 or 4 hours earlier, I could not make the faintest sound. A healthy diet is also important, with whole grain breads and cereals, fresh, lightly cooked vegetables, and fresh fruit. Study the chapter on the creative process, and in your mind, live in the ideal. I visualize you in perfect and radiant health, joyfully active in the field of your choice. Be peaceful, be happy, and be loving, but most of all, in your creative imagination, experience the life of your dreams. The good or ill of man lies within his own will. Epictetus. End of this chapter.